Hello, students. Thanks for checking in. So, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate what we're doing in class today, which involves one of the three different types of rocks we've been learning about. So, the three types of rocks are igneous, we have sedimentary, and we have metamorphic. If you took your notes yesterday, then you'll know how each of those three types of rocks form. So, we're going to do a little activity that models what happens with one of these three types of rocks. So in front of me, let me lower this down. I have an Erlenmeyer flask and I have sugar cubes. Now, if you've never heard of a sugar cube, the name tells it all. It's a block made out of sugar crystals. And they just shape it like this, and then they sell them in the stores. You can use them to sweeten drinks instead of using a spoon of sugar. So I'm going to take these two sugar cubes and we're going to place them inside of this. This is called an Erlenmeyer flask. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake this for about 4 minutes. Now, I'm not going to have you sit there and watch me shake this for 4 minutes. So I'm going to get started, and then I'm going to pause the recording and then unpause it. So that way 4 minutes have elapsed, but you don't have to sit there just staring at me doing that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started now. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes. I know for you guys it was just a few seconds, but here is the final product. So let me put this here in front of the camera for you guys. And look, those don't look very much like cubes anymore. They kind of look like snowballs. They're round now. So why do they not look like cubes anymore? Let me give you a minute to think about that. So the question that I asked the class today was this. If we think about the way that our three types of rocks form, this process that we did with the sugar cubes in the flask most resembles which of the three types of rocks? Now, you guys remember we had igneous, we had sedimentary, and metamorphic. So if you think this most resembles igneous, oh, you're way off. Remember, igneous rock is when the liquid rock, magma or lava, cools. This was never anything but solid. This was never a liquid. If you thought this was metamorphic, that's not a bad guess, except remember that when metamorphic rocks form, there's a lot of heat and pressure. I mean, we're shaking it around in here, and yeah, there's some friction because the pieces of sugar cube are rubbing up against each other and against the flask, but it's not really getting all that hot. And we're not putting any pressure. Bouncing around in the flask like this, that's not pressure. That's just friction. So that means our answer must be sedimentary rock. By shaking this around, we're causing weathering. We're causing our sugar cubes to weather down and bits of sugar to break off. So if you guys were here in class, you remember we talked about weathering, having an action looking like this. And then we have erosion, where the sediments that are created get moved to a different location. And then we have deposition, where those sediments sink down and start piling on one on top of the other. So that's what's happening here. We have our bits of sugar that were flying around all over the place. Some of you getting stuck here to the side of the flasks. That's the erosion. And once we stop shaking everything, all the bits of sugar, the sediments, settle down here to the bottom. So this kind of models the first steps of the formation of sedimentary rock. So there are two steps that we have not seen with our little demonstration here. And those are the last two steps in the formation of sedimentary rock. Do you remember what those are? We have weathering, we have erosion, we have deposition, where the layers form, then we have compaction, where all the sediments get compacted together tightly. And then the last step is cementation, where all the sediments get cemented together. And usually that involves water. water seeps in between the sediments and acts and has a dissolved minerals inside of it that causes everything to stick together. Well, if you think about it, in order to make sugar cubes, they have to take sugar crystals, put them in a big container, and add some liquid to it so that it becomes a little bit more like a syrup. And then they let it dry. They just let all the water evaporate and end up with this big block of sugar. And then they cut into the sugar cubes and they come in a box. In fact, let me go grab the box so you can see what the box looks like. This is the box of sugar cubes. So when you open it up, you'll see that it has a whole bunch of cubes stacked up together. So they have to fit really nicely. So they take a special saw, a knife, and cut them into cubes and stack them up like that in the box for us. Okay. So now that you've seen our demonstration, please go back to the notes that I posted into the classroom assignment. Copy those into your notebooks, and then you're going to see a question there for you to answer at the bottom of your notes. And the question is about how this demonstration, this activity, models the first 3 steps in the formation of sedimentary rocks. Okay? You're going to need that information for the rest of the week. Well, thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Take care. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions, if you need help with anything, please leave a comment in this assignment in Google Classroom, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Take care.